The U.S. Constitution betrayed the Revolution. The truth is that the American Revolution of 250 years ago was very short-lived, and in 2026, it remains incomplete. To be clear, the war between the American colonies and the British Empire was not the Revolution. The war was a struggle for separation from an empire, a revolt that created unlikely allies out of common working men and land-speculating, plantation-owning, wealthy colonists. The real revolution didn't happen at Lexington and Concord, or at Brandywine or Trenton. It happened in the minds of colonists who had been exposed to a new narrative about the future. While Britain was distracted with fighting the Civil War 100 years before the American War for Independence, colonists experimented with town hall meetings and other forms of local community self-government. Those dabblings in liberty became common throughout the American colonies for almost a century, while the empire tussled over who would rule England, money or monarchy. With restoration of the diminished British monarchy, the end of the short-lived and misnamed English Republic, and the beginning of limited monarchy under commercial oversight, American local experiments in community self-government began to be shut down throughout the colonies. The British were back, but this time, British subjects in America were less tolerant of being governed from a distance, and they understood the new merger of corporate commercial power with government of the British Empire. They'd had a taste of self-determination unheard of under pre-Civil War Britain, and they knew all about the levers and the diggers, those 17th century grassroots activists who beheaded King Charles I and demanded the British government be conducted at the consent of the governed. When the Declaration of Independence was agreed to by colonial delegates in the Continental Congress in 1776, they may not have realized they were signing a document that would give our generation of Americans a revealing window into the past. The upstarts told the British monarch and his hereditary trust fund class of nobles that the colonists had good reasons for revoking their membership in the empire. Among those reasons, the empire's refusal to allow local assemblies of community members to make and enforce local laws for the advancement of local aspirations rather than London's imperial or commercial priorities. Just as Oliver Cromwell had falsely promised commoners 100 years before that they'd have a hand in the republic that was to replace the British monarchy, George Washington and his Federalist compatriots falsely enlisted the radical democratic vision of Thomas Paine to suggest to the laboring class of colonists that independence would usher in the historic miracle of America as the world's exemplary model of a democratic society. Like Cromwell, Washington lied. His opinion of the commoners he commanded, both as a British officer during the French and Indian War and during the War for Independence, was, according to his own diary, condescending and dismissive when their interests conflicted with his. After 250 years of myth-building, it is time to excavate some truths out from under the infomercials. The intent of the majority of American colonists was not to establish a nation-state from the 13 liberated and sovereign colonies that had made themselves countries. Women had no stake in it. Native Americans could only lose if the independent colonies annex yet more of the continent. Enslaved and indentured people would find themselves constitutionally stripped of human rights by what came to be called the United States Constitution. But, for a while, Pennsylvanians claimed the Commonwealth as their country. And likewise, the country of the Virginians was Virginia. Vermonters hailed from the country of Vermont, and so on. In his book, The New Nation, A History of the United States During the Confederation, Merrill Jensen wrote this, quote, Americans fought against and freed themselves from coercive and increasingly centralized power. They did not create such a government when the Articles of Confederation were written, although there were Americans who wished to do so. Thus, the American Revolution made possible the democratization of American society by the destruction of the coercive authority of Great Britain and the establishment of actual local self-government within the separate states under the Articles of Confederation, end quote. To counter this democratizing trend, the federal Constitution, or what we know as the U.S. Constitution today, was enacted in 1789, and not in 1776. And it ignores the existence of self-governing rights for communities. It does not mention local government, but only national authority over all issues of national importance by way of the Supremacy Clause. And it allows for state authority over all local community affairs, removing such authority from the people. The counter-revolutionary assault on general democracy has been ongoing under the federal Constitution for 237 years. By way of a 1907 Supreme Court ruling, local authority of communities to govern local affairs without state permission was revoked when the court nationalized an 1868 Iowa Supreme Court ruling called Dillon's Rule, with the signers of the Declaration of Independence, who later supported the federal Constitution, be able to explain how today the very first grievance of the 27 against the British Empire, listed in the Declaration, stands unresolved to this day. Remember, the first justification for revolt listed in the Declaration of Independence was the denial of local self-governing rights. And since adoption of the U.S. Constitution, that right has been fully erased by the federal court established by it. The consequences of that elite betrayal are serious. Without local self-governing rights, politically unconnected communities are incapable of fending off economic destabilization, health-threatening and environment-destroying projects green-lighted by state agencies and federal fiat. The American War for Independence was not a revolution. It was an opportunity for revolutionary change to correct the errors of the past. The Federalists, who still control the levers of power, won a near bloodless counter-revolution by maneuvering their Constitution for the protection of property and commerce into being the law of the land. They've been covering the tracks ever since. If the truth continues to be hidden from us, we can't correct the errors of the past. As it is, the American Revolution is both unfinished and unexpressed as it relates to race, sex, and the natural world. We still have it in our power to make the world over again. So as of the 4th of July, when it comes around this year, let's not celebrate it as if we won something. Let's gather to acknowledge we have work left undone for far too long. The resistance, the revolutionary spirit is still alive. And yes, you can still have your fireworks and your barbecues. This is the 4th video short in CELDF's America 250, A Revolutionary Perspective series. You can catch up at our Truth and Reckoning Substack and stay current by following us at CELDF.org. If you'd like to support our work, consider donating, and again, that's at CELDF.org.